Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's well. We are live. Just going to get it up on my phone and see if anybody's there. How are you doing, Fem?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's been quite a week.
Yeah, it has been a busy week for us, hasn't it?
Yes.
But a
We
good
deserve
one,
it weekend.
nonetheless.
Yeah, very good.
Right, let's see where we are, just so we can see if anybody's here, if anyone's watching. Oh, here we are, found us. Oh, so we've got a couple of people watching. Oh, Rachel Harwood, hi. How are you doing?
Hi,
Say hello in the comments. We've got the comments up, so we'd love to chat to you. This is the third, I think, Savvy says now, which seems to have gone quickly, doesn't it? But we are talking today about things that clients don't want to hear from salespeople right now. This is a topic that we've kind of covered a couple of times, but one that I think is really important. This is actually part two. We've done Becky and Amanda did part one last week. So yes, hi. Oh, we've got two Rachels. Hi, Rachel, God, and Harwood. How are you doing? Happy Friday, guys. So yeah, so we're going to chat about the kind of last three sections on this topic, and as I say, they covered some last week, which is also on our YouTube channel if you wanted to watch them. But the first one is about how the whole industry has changed, and it's not just kind of our business and our hotel or venue finding business that's changed, but actually everybody's changed, including our clients, and we kind of need to be mindful of that when we're talking to them. And also the way we sell has changed. Like Fem and I and Becky did a course this week about virtual selling, which was quite eye-opening, and how it can be really different, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah, so I think that kind of side of it, learning about whether people are interested in speaking virtually rather than in person, or maybe, I know that we talked yesterday, the other day, Fem, about how sometimes it's really easy to like hop on Zoom and say, oh, we'll just talk on Zoom, whereas actually sometimes it's not relevant.
Not really necessary all the time, no.
Yes.
Do you want me to kick off just with something we said about not being too enthusiastic, or sometimes just measuring the way that you speak to your client?
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, okay. So we've spoken about this quite a lot, and a few months ago, especially when hotels and venues were saying that they were reopening, I could just see all the enthusiasm. Everyone's like, we're reopening, woohoo! And I mean, that's great, we all want that. But then on the other side, clients who are booking events at the moment still might feel a little bit nervous, and at the same time some of them might still be really enthusiastic. So you have a very different range of people who really want to get back to it, and yes, we're going to book straight away, and people who are a bit more wary. So it's about kind of getting your clients to lead the way in your response to them, and really having a more of a kind of consultative approach to selling and asking questions, rather than just bombarding them with, wow, look at our venue, we can do this and this, we've got such good ideas. And they're like, well, I haven't even been anywhere else in a supermarket, or I haven't even been on a train or a plane, so how do you expect me to have an event?
Yeah, I think that's kind of in our nature as salespeople, I think, to be kind of over enthusiastic about things. So it's good advice to like step back and be like, okay, actually what's happening with my client before I start bombarding things on socials.
Yeah, and it all goes back to kind of basic selling techniques, really. Is that you don't want to sell anything that's not relevant. And I think in this scenario, it's not just about whether a certain feature in your venue is relevant or not, but it's just about how the client is feeling, and if it's even relevant. I mean, I've received an email from hotels going, oh, we have this booking on hold for you, is your client looking to go ahead? And I've just replied going, well, can you just tell me a bit more about what you're doing at the hotel? And it's not when the inquiry came in 6 months ago, it wasn't wasn't quite the same as it is now. So you can't just go
That's
back to the
so
old
weird. What if odd phrase?
really.
Are they looking to go ahead? Well, there's a hell of a
Yeah,
lot more factors
not sure.
involved now. Have you been in the
Yeah,
world in the last 3 months?
yeah.
You've
So I
also, you
think,
were mentioning that you were getting some special offers, which was maybe a bit irrelevant.
yeah, especially now, it's kind of like, oh, if you book by the end of December, then we'll give you a discounted DDR, or 1 in 10 delegates go free. And I was like, well, I need to have a meeting request before I look into special offers, and without kind of asking what the
Without getting in
situation
touch
is. Like,
first.
is anyone booking again? Or we get emails saying, oh, you've booked with us before, it would be great to work with you again, but not really. I know that
Actually asking.
all venues want to work again, but really not asking what my clients are feeling at the moment. So I think that's really important.
I think it all comes down to that people by people again, and
yes.
that there's no point, and that you're kind of wasting your advertising, and if you could be diluting your rates by offering things when actually it might not be relevant. So have those on the ground one-on-one conversations to make sure that the direction you're planning to go in is right. Otherwise you won't have to put out those low DDRs because it might not be relevant anyway.
It just doesn't really sit right if you get just blanket emails from hotels that are not directed at anything really. I think the sales approach at the moment needs to be much more personal. You can't just be sending out mass emails. I mean, yes, to kind of advertise that you're reopening and what your COVID policies are. That's really important.
I also think I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know a bit more about this at the moment, but I don't know if rate is really the sticking point at the moment.
No.
So sending out low DDRs 10% off, 1 in 10 go free, it's not necessarily going to encourage people to book. It's more about, look at all of this stuff we're doing, we're safe, we've run a meeting yesterday, it went really well, this is what happened. And kind of pictures of that. Like, I've started to see some pictures on LinkedIn of some socially distanced conferences and a couple of hybrid events, which have been amazing. And like, from somebody in events, and we see those and it just makes you so excited to see people in a boardroom. It's so sad. But that sort of thing's so much more relevant than cutting your rates.
There's a really good video out from a venue in Holland at the moment, and they've just collated lots of different events that have taken place with those social distancing and how it works, and I got really emotional when I watched that this week. I was like, oh, that's so nice to see. But yes, some people are ready for that and some people aren't ready for that, and I think but like we said before, offering a virtual alternative to meeting face to face, because people might just feel safer speaking virtually initially to kind of find out what is going on in your venue, and if the event can go ahead, and what steps you've taken to make it safe, and if you're offering hybrid solutions, which we're all about this week, because hybrid can really help get an event into a venue if that means that not all delegates have to travel to the venue. And I think it's just everyone at the venue is learning, and our clients are learning as well, or the people who are organizing events. So it's just taking the steps together and going through the process, and not trying to be too pushy or trying to get the contract over the line. It's all about that personal connection and making sure that they feel safe. And I think you can have lots of protocols and things in place about COVID, but they need to feel it, and they need to know that it's actually working, and showing that in a virtual kind of platform is really useful. So you can do a short video about your policies and procedures and what it looks like when you walk into the venue or hotel, or you can show them while speaking to them. I don't know, anything kind of visual probably really helps.
Yeah, definitely, rather than just, I mean, I'm quite a big fan of those infographics that people have been putting down on like the client journey, like when you arrive at the hotel, this is the changes, this is how it's going to be different to when you were coming before, and like all the way through to in the meeting room and stuff. And there's some great ideas on there that are aside from cleaning regimes and like hand sanitizers and stuff, which I'm a big fan of, because I feel like, first of all, it's nice to be out of the box and a bit different, and secondly, it really proves that you're taking it seriously and you've thought about every step.
Yeah.
It's impressive. So that's our first point, really. Kind of be more empathetic and understanding with clients, and don't be over enthusiastic about getting them back into the venue.
Yeah, and I think we also said about just being quite truthful. I mean, I think we all have to put on a brave face. And I recently went on a few site visits, and initially you could see the salespeople are really like, yes, we're going to do this, and hi, nice to meet you. And then when you drill down into the conversation a bit more, they're like, yeah, okay. Then kind of it comes out how it was for them to be on furlough, and what it's like to be back now, and kind of, but I think it's important to be really truthful about that, and not just say like, oh well, everything's hunky-dory, because it really isn't. It's not.
And everybody knows that there's been
Yeah.
so many redundancies, which is awful, you know, and your clients will know that too. And I'm not saying like discuss with them, you know, internal details, but it's okay to be kind of honest about that. And I know we've talked about before as well, Fem, about being honest about business levels, and saying, you know, I think it only helps the industry if we're open with when bookings are when inquiries are starting to come through, the size of them, the types of business. It's only going to help the industry as a whole by being kind of open and honest about that.
Yeah, I mean, and we had that great example this week when we were running a training course, and one of our delegates was sitting on reception because he was doing event coordinator reception, and he was doing something else as well. I think he had a third role that he was talking about. And to set your client's expectation is just to mention that and say, look, this is what I'm doing. So if you can't get hold of me, or there's a slight delay, then that's because I'm on reception from 8 until 1 or something like that. And then that just, you know, it takes away the annoyance if you don't get back to them on time, but also gives away a bit of character about the hotel, that you're all pitching in and
on deck.
Yeah, which we've all worked at all levels in hotels, and maybe some of us didn't think you'd ever go back to doing those things, but actually I think it'd be quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
For a bit.
For a bit. I think I totally agree that it gives that different level of like personality as well, being like, I'm running reception this morning. And also it kind of shows that it's all hands on deck, but it shows that you kind of you're the type of person who's happy to get stuck in, and that you believe in it. You believe in like making the business work, and you understand the reasons why and everything.
And the more open you are with them, the more open your client will be with you, because they could be they may have been running events before, maybe because the events person is on furlough, they don't even know what a DDR is or what. Because they're like, well, I've been asked to run this event, like the person who normally does this is on furlough, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then you have to adjust the conversation that you have with them as well.
And adjust that kind of sales cycle approach to be a lot more consultative, and like, so these are the stages that usually happens and stuff.
Exactly.
It's important. So the second point on things that clients don't want to hear right now, which I mentioned briefly earlier, is that is the way that we sell and what we're selling. And this kind of covers virtual meetings, virtual show rounds, and ties in with the fact that some clients might not want to come and see you right now. They might feel uncomfortable. Literally everybody has different approach to this situation, I think, and different feelings. So we should be offering virtual show rounds and virtual appointments. We've kind of, Fem and I have coined a phrase on these, which I love.
The posh auntie.
That your virtual show rounds shouldn't be kind of second best to your in-person show rounds. They shouldn't be the poor cousin. They should be the posh auntie to your in-person show rounds, and do work on how you can make them as good, if not better. And we've just run a course on this week, and we had loads of ideas coming through about different ways that you can kind of do wow factors, and like ways that you can displace that revenue, because they probably would be coming in for lunch or for at least a coffee. So what can you maybe use that little few pounds or whatever worth into something that you can do with them to make it stand out? I've just noticed that my toothbrush is on charge in the background. Can you see it?
I hadn't noticed that.
Well, shouldn't I?
Always good to know you've got clean teeth.
Yes,
or maybe
I
not,
do.
because you hadn't charged your
Yeah,
toothbrush.
yeah. It was a bit tired this morning. That's why they're a bit yellow. No. Embarrassing. Yeah, so those sorts of ways how you sell virtually, that you should be offering virtual options, and also what you sell, because hybrid events are they're not a new thing. They've been happening way pre-COVID, but they are starting to happen more and more because of COVID. And although it's a reaction to COVID, I don't think it's going to be going anywhere soon. So speak to your team, upskill them on what hybrid events are, how they work, how they can be lucrative to venues. This is included in our course on Monday, and it's shocking how there's a whole market out there which hotels don't really tap into in terms of hybrid events, or certainly when I've kind of worked in hotels, we weren't aware of them at all. And there's so many different ways that they can be lucrative and really showcase the hotel. You know, the audience suddenly is international, has the potential to be international. So
yeah. Well, we said we've seen some really great hybrid studios that some of the hotels and venues have built. And if at the moment some of your meeting rooms are a little bit more empty than they were before, it might be worth thinking about putting up some sort of virtual studios, even if it's just, we spoke to someone this week who's going to do it just for the sales team, and have a really good setup with a green screen and everything, so you can do really professional videos. I think that's a really good idea. I mean, it's a small investment, and obviously budgets are really tight at the moment, so that doesn't go for everyone, but it's a chicken and egg situation really with
it is, I know,
with this new technology that's coming out. And I think you know, we do need to know some of the answers to all of the new tech questions, but we can't know everything. I think it's good to have a conversation with your AV team. You definitely need to have some sort of solution, and you need to be able to say with your clients with confidence, yes, we can help with this, but they may, you know, we're not tech specialists. So I think it's okay to say, okay, I'm going to find out for you, but
and I've had interesting conversations with clients recently. A couple of clients have said, oh no, we're not really interested about learning about hybrid events. We haven't had any inquiries, which is fair enough. It's still very early days. Meetings are only just starting to inquire about the future. And then I had another client who put their event manager, she was still on furlough, onto our hybrid event course, and she learned about it. And literally that afternoon, they got a hybrid event inquiry into the hotel, and they phoned her because she'd just been on the course and was like, "What is it? I need to know. How am I going to propose?" And she knew exactly, like, this is what it is. This is what they're going to be expecting and everything. So they hadn't had any before that, but it was so lucky that they knew how to respond. So this isn't like a promotional thing because we've already done the course, but my point is that
was a good example.
Yeah, my point is that talk to your team and research it now. Like, just start Googling and send them like blog posts or whatever that you find, because even if you don't think you're going to get inquiries, if you do, you need to convert everything. You need to know how to handle it,
and make sure you have a good AV provider who can deal with all of those situations as well. But I wouldn't want to tie anyone into having one provider only, because a lot of clients want to bring their own, and sometimes, you know, it's so international and the hybrid comes from different locations that you need to be open to using other options as well. And if that means that you get a venue in the door, an event in the door, then that's just better.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So talking about the kind of whole industry changing, as well, we've talked about virtual and hybrid events, which we just seem to be talking about all the time this week. But also asking your clients about what their situation is. How was furlough for them? Like, what's the situation with the company now? I think it's interesting if you are doing virtual meetings, because usually if you're a proactive sales manager and you go out and visit businesses and clients, you can kind of tell quite a lot about their business by just going to their offices, can't you? You can see the size of the building, you can see perhaps how formal they are. Do you?
Yeah, I love to go to people's offices because it's just so interesting, because I've been working from home for 5 years, and before that I worked in hotels, and the offices are usually in the basement.
Yeah.
And then just the difference. And I work with this fashion company, and their office in the Shard, and you walk in and it's like, whoa,
That must be amazing.
and it's so quiet. Everyone's just sitting there like typing away. I'm like, if I was in an office, I'd just be chatting the whole
Oh
time.
gosh, I wouldn't be that quiet. Yeah, so you can gauge a lot about the company culture and everything, whereas when it's virtual, you don't get that kind of insight into the company. And even going to buildings and offices, you can see if they've got meeting rooms and stuff like that and the size of them. So have those conversations. How's business? How many people work in your company? Have there been any redundancies? What does your job look like? Has it changed since lockdown? Ask those questions, and then that will kind of tell you, gauge what their situation is in terms of bringing business back to you and the kind of future of the plan.
And it's the same the other way around. They can't walk into your venue, so they can't gauge what it's like, and what kind of music do you normally have playing when you walk in to do a reception, or
what the smell is. You've got a good
what's the smell. We spoke about that. Just the whole vibe when you walk into a hotel or a venue. I love walking in, and in reception or in the lobby, you have everyone kind of working away, and there's such a buzz. You can't show them that really over a virtual platform, so you have to think of creative ideas to make them feel what your vibe is all about, and what kind of culture you have in your venue.
Yeah, and you have to like embody that culture, don't you? You have to prove, you kind of have to get that across by being really animated and kind of showing them what you're all about as a business as well as a person. So the next section is, don't be nervous or scared of clients' new questions. And I think this was kind of, we were sort of thinking on more of a virtual AV tech kind of thing, kind of vein. Well, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if you were thinking.
Well, it could be about that, but it could also be about the protocol. I mean, you definitely need to have your new capacities and all of those things ready, and you need to know about them. But they may be, there may just be questions that you haven't thought of, because every event has different reasons for taking place. And also how they work, and normally we may not get so involved in in the content or how they run it. We just serve the buffet or do whatever, and if it changes, that also changes the concept for them. So they might just come out with questions that you really hadn't thought of before, or they might come up with suggestions saying, oh, we'd really like it like this, and you're not sure if that's feasible. So it's okay not to know everything.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. It's okay not to know everything, but you should be saying, I'll find out and get back to you by this time.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I'm not sure if anyone ever does that. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. So obviously everybody often says, I'll find out and get back to you, but I think it's worth saying I'll find out and get back to you by this time, because it kind of gives you a bit of a deadline and manages the client's expectations. And everyone's on such a huge learning curve at the moment, trying to learn what's new, what the changes are going to happen, and everyone's saying, what's 2021 going to look like? Nobody really knows. So it's just day by day. It's okay not to know everything, I guess. And our last point we've kind of covered already, about sending special offers for events. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, let me know. I can see Megan. Hello, Megan is watching, and Helen, and my friend Claire. Hi, Claire. Great to have you here. And Becky said hello as well, although she's on holiday, so she shouldn't be watching, listening to us. Go and have a glass of wine. Is it too early?
Yes, we did mention the special offers, and I think it kind of speaks for itself. I just think all communication that goes out much more personalized, and just think about your databases, not sending it, because some of it may come across really insensitive as well, and especially if you're sending internationally, because the rules, I call them rules anyway, the guidance on COVID may be one way here, but it could be completely different in another country. So some people might be on local lockdown, or I don't know, you don't know what's going on. So if you're just sending out blanket emails, it could just really hit the wrong kind of note.
Message. Yeah. Well, that is it for our third Savvy Says. We do these every week. As I say, this was the third one. And next week, Fem and I are going to be on again, 9:30 on Friday mornings. We'll be on every Friday. Next week, we're talking more in depth about virtual showrounds and kind of standing out from the crowd and how you can do that and how they are kind of best structure on how they can work. And the next course we've got coming up is LinkedIn Challenge, which is the second one that we've run, 14th to the 18th of September. It's a 5-day challenge with workshops every morning and then tasks each afternoon. And we had some great traction by day 2 of it last time. So
I love that course because all the people who've been on it, I can really see their visibility on LinkedIn now and kind of the engagement that they're getting with other people. It's really nice to see.
It's so nice. And people step out their comfort zones, but it's these challenges, these 5-day challenges that we do build such a community of people, and they really support each other. And it's on a closed Facebook group, so people post up their ideas, and then people can like comment and give feedback, and then comment on each other's when they post on LinkedIn as well. So it's really good fun
and good value.
And good value, because it's only £20. Can you believe it? We need to up that. No,
we don't.
The reason that we've decided to do it at £20 is because there's a lot of people who've been made redundant. So it is. So we wanted to keep the price point really low so that it's affordable for everybody and that they can get the most out of it. Helen, I'm not in the LinkedIn challenge. I'll check it out. Maybe see you there. Oh, that'd be great, Helen. Yeah, I'll put the link to have a look at the more information in this and have a look at it. Thank you so much, guys. See you next week, if not before.
See you next week.
Bye.